Genesis 1. In the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God was moving over the face of the waters. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw that the light was good, and God separated the light from darkness.
We want to see how different sorts of knowledge, scientific knowledge, religious knowledge, can come together as we think about the extraordinary wonder of the universe and what an amazing place it is.
This is CERN. This is real CERN.
When we do various visits with education and so on, people come from a variety of backgrounds.
Out of any scale, perhaps, that's been done before.
Take Your Vicar to the Lab is a project by which we enable clergy and other church leaders to visit laboratories and places where technology is happening so that those involved in the church can understand more about the technology and what it's really about, so that the church can start to have some kind of faith input into the questions around technology.
All that impressed me when I looked at CERN and the project was the sort of international collaboration.
There are 13,000 visitors.
And reflecting a little bit about what scientists can achieve when they work internationally and they work well together.
We're going to visit CMS, which is one of the detectors for the Hadron Collider, that's one of the detectors that discovered the Higgs boson.
But the things that human beings can achieve together, if they collaborate and if they choose to work well, is immense, and that's quite awe-inspiring.
We're going to visit CMS, which is one of the detectors for the Hadron Collider that discovered the Higgs boson.
And the idea really is to help people start thinking about the issues that many people in society are dealing with, but perhaps which we in the church aren't always quite so closely associated with. The idea is to take people along to learn about the issues, the concerns, and discover whole worlds that people are working in.
My initial reaction was, it probably isn't for me. And that's probably because it's about entering into a world that I'm slightly uncomfortable with.
The beauty of this, you find it beautiful, do you? When you look at it, do you still get a sense of awe with it, or is it an everyday object to you now?
Every time I find that it's really very exciting to work, otherwise I would not say it.
So Susanna's background is very much into kind of poetry and the arts. Often there's a dichotomy, a division between scientists and artists. And so it'll be interesting bringing together those two worlds to see what she makes of it. It's probably actually three worlds really. You've got science, you've got the arts, and you've got the world of faith.
There's a programme at home which all the children grow up with called Blue Peter, where they used to show children how to make models out of toilet roll holders and kitchen foil. And the extraordinary thing about this engineering is that it really does look like somebody's raided the kitchen cupboard and just patched up the end of it.
This is just the design we needed to...
It has its function, yeah.
Maybe someone will find that it looks like a kitchen appliance, I don't know.
No.
What's more amazing for you? Is it the feats of engineering and the people working together and the things that you find from that? Or is it, so the large, big stuff? Or is it the tiny, minuscule muons and these things that are mysteries and we can't see? What's more impressive about life? The tiny things or the big things?
Well, both.
Both.
The both. Because you see, this tiny stuff, our main goal is to study this tiny stuff. But it's really very strange that you cannot study these tiny stuffs unless you have such a huge... And then what you are looking here, this is a really very accurate device. Okay, now it's open and then we are moving parts back and forth, but when it is closed, it is aligned in with a micrometer precision. And then we are measuring geometry of this stuff with very high precision. And that's why this huge star can measure with very high precision such a tiny star.
The world is increasingly shaped by science and technology. I mean, we need to be grappling with the issues, both technical and also kind of ethical and social.
Una is a writer of science fiction, fantasy.
I am. I write Star Trek and Doctor Who novels, so we've been talking about the extent to which the science matters and whether you can fudge it. Well, it feels like science fiction, I think.
Yeah, I think that's all stranger than science fiction, even.
We believe that the universe is about 13.8 billion years old, and it became visible only about...
I know very little science, so I'm here myself just to learn. And already it's mind-boggling when you start looking at some of the issues that people are dealing with. Coming over here was the sheer enthusiasm and passion, which is very refreshing as you hear people's love of what they're doing.
This is the kind of the real CERN, okay? So look at this. This is from the 60s. So this is where it happened. They were using some nice equipment that they didn't want the management to know about. So they were kind of, if I remember correctly, they kept the curtains down.
The World Wide Web has changed the world.
Yes, it was given away because we are open. We are obliged to publish whatever we do, and we decided that this is something that would be better off given to the society. So that's what we did.
All of us, whatever belief or not belief or worldview, are left with a sense of awe and wonder and a sense of just our finitude, how little we know. And there's a sense of which actually is quite humbling, just coming out and seeing what's going on here.
We're near to the de Havilland site, which is famous in this area for its work with aircraft, and here are some of the de Havilland graves. This is a family in this local area who really went to experiment with what was possible with human capability. The two sons, John and Geoffrey, sadly died testing aircraft in their time. But I thought their motto, to strive, to seek, to find and not to yield, might be quite an appropriate one as we're thinking about the wonderful things that people can do and discover.
We were able to look at things in different perspectives, but we were able to talk to each other and share ideas.
We're going to catch a coach, we're going to visit CMS, which is one of the detectors for the Hadron Collider that discovered the Higgs boson.
Bring your cameras, please.
No visitors beyond this hall.
The context that I'm covering, I'm sort of curiously finding links all the time, but I suspect it's perhaps slightly different from your context.
I think we could certainly say that as scientists we have faith in the scientific method. Maybe not exactly the same kind of faith as a religious faith, but it is ultimately a belief that there is a way of investigating things which allows you to discover truths about nature.
So the connection between science and religion is a really important one for us that we need to go on exploring.
We need to be grappling with the issues, both technical and also kind of ethical and social.
I've not been involved in a thing which is a visit specifically arranged for the clergy before now, but I hope it continues.
How on earth have they managed to do something as ingenious and clever and brave, really? That sense of having a project that you imagine this is out of any scale, perhaps, that's been done before.
There's nothing to fear in trying to understand science, that actually we're talking about truth. And the more we can understand what's going on in the world, the more likely we're able to share in it and participate in it.
although in a visit like this we tend to look at the big scale and you get the wow factor of the size of the experiments and the amount of data that's processed and the energies of the collisions and all of these sorts of things. But we also saw when we were underground at CMS that there are people there checking particular cables, every single cable, and a lot of the people who will be working across the road in offices at CERN will be trying to figure out how do I solve this one small particular problem, how do I just get this, and all of those things add up to make this achievement, a scientific achievement, which is a human achievement in the end. It's people who've been able to do that. Some people have strong scientific beliefs in certain theories, but if your theory doesn't fit the data, then if you're a scientist, you have to change your mind. And I think the vast majority of people of all backgrounds, and including people of faith, are also open to that. And it doesn't change the basic fundamental of who you are or what you believe in, but the interpretation can change as more data is available. I don't know. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. So I found today a lot of sort of common ground, which perhaps it shouldn't be surprising because we're all human, aren't we? And our searches are human. Whatever direction they kind of take us into. But it's not my world. It's not my parish world. It's not the language that I speak, and it's not the concepts that I think in. And I spend my week doing small things, looking at small things, but those small things are relationships and gestures, and for me, each of those faces and lives that I step into for whatever purpose I'm there, if I'm visiting people, it's the small things that reflect back to me something.